good morning, good morning, and welcome to live coverage of a press conference called by the Ministry of National Security. Of course, we are broadcasting from the police headquarters conference room here in Rosso Dominica, a head table full with the high-ranking officers of the Dominica Police Force, the Minister of National Security, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Security, Joan Commodore. We have Ms. Valda will be coordinating the press conference. We expect welcome remarks by Mr. Alina Maxime, Assistant Commissioner of the Crime and Operation. And also Minister of Community Policing is the coordinator of remarks are expected by ASP Valda Powell, expected by Mr. Lincoln Cobbett, the Chief of Police, acting. Remarks are also expected by Mr. Aitoma James, Senior Met Officer, and the closing remarks by Honorable Raven Blackmore. As you all know, we are in the hurricane season. There are impending weather conditions affecting us here in the region, and it's important that we are on our guard. We remain on our guard. So not just hurricane we'll be talking, but we'll be talking other areas, security, drugs, and crime, and etc. So we are here getting ready to bring this live to you. A table full. This is brought live on Facebook, all FM frequencies. We have other officers of the Dominica Police Force at the offices. Mr. High-ranking officers within the police. These are matters of importance. To talk yes, so those of you who missed out on the information we were given earlier on, we want to welcome you as we get ready to bring you live coverage of this press conference called by the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force in partnership with the Ministry of National Security here at the conference room of the police headquarters. As we said earlier on, we have a head table that is full with high-ranking officers from the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force. We have Mr. David Andrew, we have Mr. Valda Powell, we have ASP Maxime, we have other high-ranking officers such as Mr. Cobbett, we have Alan Maxime, we have Honorable Rayburn Blackmore, Mr. David Andrew, ASP Valda Powell, Mr. Lincoln Cobbett, and also as part of the program we have Mr. Itoma James. I have not seen him as yet, or he's maybe somewhere sitting, but we have not seen him. But he is expected to address this gathering, and as we said earlier on, we're talking about national security, we're talking about the hurricane season, which we are in. We're also talking about the crime situation in Dominica, the use of illegal firearms. We're talking about traffic, and we know there are going to be activities during the course of this weekend and also next weekend in Dominica. We are the country in the region with the most activities, so that means the people are vibrant, and we are always up and about and have something to keep the people going. So that's, we can say, is a plus for us here in Dominica. So the people are never stagnant, as it were. We're talking about fire and ambulance service, yes, security of the state, illegal firearms, the use of vehicles on the road, pedestrian safety, security at your homes. Also, we did a tour of the Granby police station and the new magistrates court in Granby sometime last week. You heard from the officials. I'm sure Mr. Blackmore will touch on that as well. And there are activities this weekend. We're talking about the poker run and traffic, and I would imagine they will touch on that, because last year it was, wow, traffic jams, serious congestion. But thank God everybody was safe, nobody got hurt, and the Dominicans are becoming more and more careful. It's not easy to find money to purchase a vehicle, so everyone is doing his or her best to be careful on the road, although you might be safe on the road on your side and then something happens to you, unfortunately. Those things happen, but let us all continue to be careful. There is also activities taking place next weekend, the DieFest. We saw the launch of DieFest last evening on all media houses, and so we ask that you stay tuned. As we said, we were talking hurricane as well. We will be talking safety of all during the hurricane season. There are systems affecting us even this weekend. Let's go join Miss Joanne Commodore.
Let's have a very short prayer. Bow our heads, close your eyes. Heavenly Father, as we gather to this press conference, we ask you, Lord, to bless this event. We ask you, Lord, to guide and protect our people. Lord, we ask for peace and tranquility throughout this blessed land, Commonwealth of Dominica. Lord, we thank you for all the police officers, law enforcement officers. We ask that you guide us, protect us, and bless us with health and strength, Almighty Father. And we praise and thank you, Lord, for health and strength throughout our land. In Jesus' name, amen.
Before we begin, let me acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Minister for National Security and Legal Affairs, Mr. Rayburn Blackmore, Mr. Lincoln Cobbett, our Chief of Police, Mr. Geoffrey James, the Deputy Chief of Police, Mr. Aline Maxime, Assistant Commissioner of Police, Ms. Antonia Moses, Assistant Commissioner of Police acting as well, ASP Valda Powell, Head of Immigration, Sergeant David Andrew, Community Policing Coordinator, Ms. Itoma James, who will join us in a while, gazetted officers and other ranks of the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force, members of the media, listening public. Good morning, everybody. This is in keeping with the Ministry of National Security's pledge that it will update the public periodically on actions and important events taking place within the ministry. Today we'll shine a light on the police, but we'll also have a bit of the forecasting and going forward for the rest of the hurricane season once Mr. Itoma James joins us. I will call Mr. Alin Maxime, our Assistant Commissioner of Police for Crime and Operation, to give some welcome remarks.
The Honorable Reuben Blackmore, Minister of National Security and Legal Affairs, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of National Security, Ms. Joanne Commodore, Mr. Lincoln Cobbett, Chief of Police, Mr. Jeffrey James, Deputy Chief of Police, Ms. Antonia Moses, Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of admin and training, Ms. Valda Powell, Head of Immigration, Sergeant David Andrew, Community Police Coordinator, Mr. Itoma James, Senior Met Officer, all the gazetted officers and ranks of the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force, members of the media, the listening public, ladies and gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
I take this opportunity to welcome all of you here today to this press conference. The Ministry of National Security and Legal Affairs has seen it fitting to update the citizens through the press on matters of national security. This is an initiative which will be ongoing as the ministry recognizes the importance of providing necessary information to the public. The Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force is mandated to ensure that law and order is maintained throughout the island. To this end, we are committed to ensuring that we meet our objectives to ensure that Dominica remains a safe place. Once again, welcome to Police Headquarters and this press conference.
Thank you very much, ACP. Honorable Reuben Blackmore, I will now call on you to give us an opening address before we launch into the substantive presentations.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let me recognize in our presence the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of National Security and Legal Affairs, the Commissioner of Police acting, Deputy Commissioner of Police, Mr. James acting, the Assistant Commissioner of Police, Mr. Maxime Allen acting for Operation and Crimes, Ms. Antonia Moses, the Acting Assistant Commissioner of Police for Administration and Training, other gazetted officers, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media fraternity, and those of you listening live and also viewing this very important event here this morning. As you heard from the Permanent Secretary, we are obligated to you, the people of this country, and we work in service to you, the people of this country, and to actually discharge the functions and to pursue the policies of the government of this country. As you know, we have been actually putting systems in place from a holistic standpoint to deal with the issue of gun crimes. And last month, we actually announced the beginning of a gun amnesty program for a period of 1 month, which came to an end over the weekend. I want to take this opportunity, Mr. Commissioner of Police, and your men and women, to thank you for your effort thus far, and in particular, those who saw it fit and to have brought in the firearms, and from what I've been so advised to date, 5 firearms were actually returned or surrendered to the police. Now, I'm not one who's going to use the number 5 as the sole barometer to actually measure the success of the program itself, except to say, of course, it demonstrates, as I've said from the initial point, your government, the demonstration of good faith, and allowing the public, therefore, an opportunity to do the right thing and to surrender the firearms. The Commissioner of Police will go into detail as to the areas where the firearms came from and the caliber, and along with the number of ammunition that were actually surrendered. But I think it is worth mentioning that the people who actually participated in that process, and I want to place on record my appreciation and that of the government for a man of the Lord, a real man of the Lord, a pastor, who actually from day one used his good office and good self and to have brought in on behalf of individuals 2 firearms from the inception of the program. Now, having said that, the program is over. That you're given a chance to bring in your illegal firearms without fear of being prosecuted. And some of us have made the rational decisions, therefore, to keep our illegal firearms. Now, the onus is on the police, from a law enforcement standpoint, to do everything necessary to go after those people who are actually involved in that trade. Now, a firearm is a lethal weapon, and it has been used for one purpose, and that is to cause harm or death, sadly, to a human being. Now, in terms of the overall approach, as I said before, it shall be a holistic approach. You heard from the Prime Minister in the press conference that, of course, we have actually put in place a team, a unit, with this specific purpose of ridding the street of illegal firearms. I want to give the public the assurance that the members of that team will be of high caliber. And every member of the task force to deal with illegal firearms shall have to go through a stringent vetting process to include polygraphing. We have been working with original and international partners to ensure that the people who will be actually administering the polygraphing process are actually people who are neutral. And that is the reason why we're getting people from the region and, of course, and supported by our international players to actually do that polygraphing and to actually superintend over the vetting process. Now, where do we go from here? Because if you have made a rational decision to keep your illegal firearms, therefore there must be consequences if you're caught with illegal firearms going forward. And I'm therefore calling on all the players within the criminal justice system, not only the police, to recognize the urgency and the importance of this matter and to ensure that people who are arrested and brought before the court and are convicted feel the full weight and heat of the law. Now, we have to make up our mind in this country on which side are we on. Are we on the side of law and order, or are we on the side of a society that may get out of order if we do not take proactive measures? I want to say further that notwithstanding the emphasis that has been placed on the issue of gun crime, we must not feel comforted by the fact that Dominica is still the lowest insofar as gun crime is concerned in the sub-region, Dominica and Grenada. What we have to do is to act in mitigation to ensure that we do not get to a stage where you have the killing of young people, or anybody, innocent people, so to speak, become a constant in our society. That is why we're acting in mitigation. And all those who made a hoopla over some of the events that took place and that actually occasioned the heightening of our effort to deal with the issue of gun violence were very loud. Throughout the period of the gun amnesty program, the silence was very loud. And those who spoke we're asking members of the public, do not bring in a firearm because $1,000 did not actually worth somebody's life. Now, we have to put aside the element of hypocrisy. And then what we're trying to do, therefore, is to embark on a mission to ensure that this country does not fall into the hands of criminal elements so that we can continue to embrace peace and prosperity that have been a major hallmarks and part of our traditions as a peaceful nation. So therefore, it's going to require not only the police, but everybody within the social space. I want to say also, we have been placing emphasis, we have not been speaking about it for apparent reasons, on tremendous training of our police officers in the area of investigation of gun-related offenses, and which will allow the police officers to better investigate those matters, and to allow the police officers to be more efficient in the investigation process, and to ensure that there is prosecution that is timely and that convictions can be retained. I will not go into the absolute detail, but we have seen in the recent past, and I want to take this opportunity to express our thanks to our regional and international partners for partnering with us and by ensuring that the officers who are going to be involved in that process, in that fight against this potential danger to this country, to make them better investigators, better police officers, and to ensure that we go after and apprehend the people who are responsible for, one, using illegal firearms to commit crimes, and those who are responsible in actually importing illegal firearms into the country. Now, that is going to require a certain degree of specialization among our police officers. As you have heard me said before, as we speak, the police force is engaged in doing a human resource audit to identify 2 talented officers who will actually be exposed to a training program that will allow for the specialization of these officers in forensic analysis specific to the whole issue of ballistic reading and firearm that is related to firearms investigation. And that is being done because if we are going to have a program and an approach, central to that approach has to be going after those who are responsible for that trade. Let me just say also, we have Mr. Antonio Laron, PS, who is actually now engaged with the ministry, and as we speak, is looking at the current firearms legislation. We also have model legislations from other member states, including Jamaica, and that is being looked at alongside what we have, because to strengthen the offenses and the penalties. For example, I can just make reference to some of the issues that may be considered. Of course, it will be a draft that has to be ultimately approved by Cabinet and the Chairman of the Cabinet. And for example, some of the legislation we're looking at speaks to if you are actually found in possession of an illegal firearm, there's a minimum of 10 years imprisonment. If you were to make the mistake to use a firearm to intimidate or to commit a felony, for example, if you were to use a firearm to commit what you call an aggravated burglary, which means to enter somebody's home, to commit a crime, but it's to steal, etc., and you have on your person an illegal firearm or a firearm, some of the laws that we're looking at speak to a minimum sentence of 20 years imprisonment. Do you understand what I'm talking about? And then, for example, if you were to be involved in the trafficking of illegal firearm, a minimum of 25 years. I'm not saying that's going to be the actual and the ultimate law, but we're looking at, of course, model legislation across the Caribbean so that we can actually harmonize what we have and to have a more stringent piece of legislation so people can feel the weight of the law, because you are the one who have made the choice to keep your illegal firearm. So I'm hoping, of course, that we can have this holistic approach in actually going forward and to actually ensure that we get serious, or more serious, so to speak, on insofar as responding to this phenomenon that can get out of hand. Having said that, I want to repeat for emphasis, because in the other areas that, insofar as crime is concerned, we have experienced historical lows. I'm not going to go into actually absolute detail this morning. I just want to have that reiterated. But of course, we have to monitor and work in mitigation to prevent this gun violence phenomenon from becoming to a pathological stage. I want to say also that there's also a need to look at the firearms legislation in a holistic manner. For example, the whole issue as to how firearm licenses are actually processed and issued. Whether there's a need to have a licensing authority, so to speak, as obtained in other countries, and of course staffed by former justices and people who do not belong to the public sector, and that authority gets a recommendation from the chief of police, and of course makes the recommendation to the minister. We have to start looking also at how the whole issue of the granting licenses to import firearms, all these things, granting licenses to dealers, etc. And all these issues have to be done in a more transparent manner, and therefore there can be, some kind of transparency. For example, in some of your legislation I've been looking at, and Mr. Lawan is looking at, you have a situation whereby the law in itself should demarcate some of the areas somebody who have applied for firearm, that person absolutely should not be considered. Absolutely. If someone is of what you call intemperate mind, you're not of sound mind, therefore, you sadly have mental issues, very sadly. You abuse substance, including alcohol. Utuzusu. Utuzusu saka fe confusing. Now, if you always involve in domestic violence, if you're beating your partner, if you're beating your wife, if you're beating your husband, most of them, the women are the victim, but you have instances where women are involved in domestic violence. Those issues there in some of the laws I've looked at and Mr. Lawan will be looking at are actually stipulated, so for greater transparency. And so it's going to be a holistic approach and if you're involved in the removal of serial numbers on a firearm, if you're involved in converting a firearm in some of the things that, for the Jamaica model, you go to jail for 20 years. And I believe that we have to get to a stage where everyone within the criminal justice system plays his or her part, not only the police. So we're going to strengthen the law. Mr. Lawan has a month to actually give the first draft, and of course there'll be actually consultation, and ultimately the decision will be made by the competent authority, and with the recommendation coming from the ministry. So that's where we are now. So I believe that it is time for everybody to tie their waist. And I believe now the entire police force should be involved in that process of trying to rid the street of illegal firearm. The entire society should be involved, and let me just say, as we'll be looking at also the whole issue of obstructing the police, insulting the police while they're doing their work. A sister country just recently, I think the Barbados, just increased the penalty if you're to obstruct the police. And there's an obligation on members of the society to assist the police. It's not a moral obligation, you know. If the police calls on you to assist him or her in trying to effect an arrest, the law obligates you so to do. But it's not been enforced in Dominica. So we need to therefore, do like other countries, to properly qualify those offenses in our statute And because if we're going to get serious in dealing with crime in this country, we have to look at all angles. But I'm speaking from a policy standpoint, from the operational level. That is left to the police chief, and to ensure that they do what they have to do to rid the street of illegal firearms. Because we have had, in 2007, a similar program. We had one in 2001, so that's the third one that we are having, or the fourth one. So now is the time to jam the brakes on those folks who have decided to keep the firearm. Now, there also is, and we have to work hard to actually diffuse this apparent gun culture that's emerging in the Caribbean. In a small country like Dominica, what is everybody doing with a firearm? If you're not the police, you're not in the army, you have to have good reasons to have a firearm. It's not so. And our Constitution does not allow or provide any right. You have no protected right to own a firearm. And it's very concerning to me that everybody thinks that he or she has to have a firearm. So that is why I'm making reference to the need to look at, a licensing authority as obtained in other countries with people who are value-free in analyzing the applications. Of course, they must get a recommendation from the chief and to make a recommendation for the issuing of licenses going forward. So it's going to be a global effort, when I say global, holistic effort, and looking at all angles, therefore. Having said that, I believe that the police have to embrace community policing. The time for talk is over. I've given approval for the unit, a full-time unit for that purpose, but the unit by itself cannot actually do the work that is required from a national standpoint. It means, therefore, every police officer, every head of department, in every district, in every station, must be involved in the process. And there's a distinction to be made between community relations and community policing. Community policing must have at its core preventing crime. And the police is accountable to the public. And if you're accountable to the public, therefore, it means you must make yourself available to the public. I want to take this opportunity to commend Mr. Andrew and his team. Mr. Andrew, stand. Just back. I got a call yesterday from somebody who was speaking for a while, and the person does not reside in Dominica, but the person holds a high office. And they were elated that person was elated by the fact what they're seeing happening. But it must not, like, sometimes you find a stone after a mango, a ripe mango, and you say next one, you start finding a stone after it. You're going to end up picking none. So you cannot be just fire stone and rest. There's a plan, and there are strategies. The government has provided the support. Let us go with it. And I'm happy that I heard that you were in MZOL. I heard that you were in Silver Lake. I heard that you were all about. That has to be maintained, and we have to come up with well-tailored programs that are specific to the needs of the respective communities. And what I do not want as a minister, looking at it from a policy standpoint, I don't think we should pick out communities. It has to be a national approach. I want to take this opportunity also to thank the people of Granby who have been doing a tremendous job. The action plan group that's there, the teachers involved, and everybody's involved. Their follow-up has been done. I saw the police back on the street in uniform in Granby, and that is what I want to see, including the inspector, speaking to the people. And what is the reason for you being in a police station and the people only see you when you come to buy bread or to get a cylinder of gas? We have to go back to the days of going to the shopkeepers, speaking to the guys on the block, and ensuring and cultivating that relationship. And you'll be surprised the amount of information you can gather while you're doing that. Because people like to tell police secret, you understand? When they trust you. And it seems to me you have to cultivate that trust. And that trust can only be cultivated if you're making yourself available to the people. So I want to applaud you, Mr. Andrew, you and your team, and Chief, and you also have a broader committee within the police force driving that. And I know we have some scheduled meetings for the public approach, which I have been part of to speak. I'll be happy to turn out, and will let us continue to do what we're doing. You're doing some good work with the community in Baffin State. I want you to continue doing that with all the other communities. At the end of the day, people must not see the police when the police come to serve a warrant or to arrest you. It has to be, because you also have to be there in assistance to the community. So we'll do what we have to do from a policy standpoint. The other issue I want to make reference to, from a policy standpoint, we have to continue to look at how do we do some redistricting, police redistricting, and that falls within the level of competence of whoever the minister is. And I think the time has come for us to rationalize our approach, and not rationalizing the service, but the approach to allow for better deployment and better efficiency. I can go back to the days of the Somerville report, where recommendations were made to maybe collapse some police stations, some districts, into other police districts. And we're currently looking at the community of Kulibishri and Monwachet to be collapsed into the police district of Salisbury, which will mean, therefore, the officers will be transferred to the village of Salisbury, which is a very busy community. And that is not being done without meeting with the people and consulting with the people. The member of parliament has been consulted. She's for it, I want to say it publicly. And there was the first meeting in the community, and somebody whose vocation is to disrupt, because I'm also a politician, who is to disrupt, came at the meeting, the former member of parliament for Salisbury, to disrupt the meeting and to try to influence some kind of protest action. I mean, that is not going to assist us. Let's look at the merit of what is being proposed, therefore. It was said to me that what he is proposing, why shut down Kulibishri police station? Why don't you shut down the Collier police station and bring the Collier police to Kulibishri? Now, one of the justifications I was told, he said, is that we're renting in Collier, Babru, Collier, Jubla, Bios, you understand? Syndicate, all those areas fall under the Collier police district. When you look at the proximity of Kulibishri to Salisbury, and the population in Kulibishri, and the same people who complain they will not see the police in Kulibishri. And Kulibishri is a small place, and the same one saying that they see them every minute. So I'm saying that we have to be serious in this country. As a minister, while I'm still here, I'll ensure that we give the kind of support and direction that needs to be done. So as I said, there's ongoing dialogue with the community, including the leadership, the member of parliament, and the village council chief. Is that so? Yeah, and that's the direction that we're looking going forward. And I want to just make reference to a number of housekeeping matters. When we toured Granby last week, Friday, was it, PS? Yeah, Friday. And we toured the building that's under construction for the housing of fire officers, women and men. We are looking at a minimum of 24 officers to be stationed at the fire station in Granby when it is completed. I made reference, I think somebody asked me a question about ambulances, I said. And I did make the pronouncement that during the last budget presentation, that we have made provision for the procurement of a new ambulance that is fully customized. I want to report to the public that the ambulance space has arrived. It's on the port. And I want to take this opportunity to express my thanks to the Minister of Finance. The Prime Minister is always supportive. But that ambulance is almost $400,000. Now, we have a plan. So this ambulance will be stationed in Roseau. So, and it will bring us to 6. We have 7 health districts. So, but all the health districts are being serviced. By early next month, because sometimes we only hear about ambulances, no ambulances, one or two ambulances made it breaks. It's a replacement part, you understand? So by early September, we shall have a next fully functional ambulance that will take us to 7, which means every health district in the next couple of weeks, 2 weeks, will be equipped with an ambulance. We're working on 2 more because the intention is to have a minimum of 2 ambulances in Roseau, and the other big districts like Marigot and Portsmouth to have 2 each. Before and just after COVID, we had 2 in each of the big districts. But the strain that was brought to bear on the vehicles during COVID-19, of course, a number of the ambulances, of course, went down. But we're dealing with that. This is the fire truck, which is one that we paid $1.5 million for. It's currently under construction, it's currently being manufactured from scratch. So we are on target for that. And we have an immediate plan for 3 additional fire trucks, which we expect to get before the end of this year, hopefully late in the month of September. That will have us to at least 3 in Roseau, because as we speak in Roseau, one of the trucks had an engine issue. We have been able to procure a new engine for this fire truck, which has been installed, and they're doing the final touch-up so that we can get to 2 in Roseau. But the intention is to have 3 fire trucks in Roseau because they have to cover Kingsfield and other areas, etc. So we're getting places, and we have a plan. Your government has a plan to deal with the issue of fire and ambulance in this country. I want to take a pause there and to say also I want to commend Ms. Valda Powell for the tremendous leadership she has brought to the Immigration Department. And you can recall that when we started the migration from the motion readable passport to the e-passport, we had a number of challenges. And when you're starting something new like that, we are going to have challenges. The question is, how do we come up with a plan, therefore, to manage? One problem that's emerged is you have to be able to come up with a system to manage the problems and ultimately solve them. That's why you have a project. A project cannot be a project without problems emerging. The important thing is, what do you have in place to mitigate against the problems that emerge? So we have gotten to a point now, you can get your passport upon application in 1 week. And I think, Ms. Powell, you still miss now? Okay. Ms. Powell, I want to commend you for that, and your staff. You have a civilian staff and police staff. You have been doing well. Sometimes you guys work nighttime. And I want to speak to one last issue before I leave and then come back to Kumaino. We are working towards modernizing the police force. That's why we created a position recently of Assistant Commissioner of Police for Administration and Crime, and to place and training, and to place emphasis specifically on training, and to come up with a menu of training programs that will make better police officers, better investigators, and to look at the issue of discipline, and to ensure that tribunals are held and heard in a timely fashion, because the major hallmark of any paralegal organization, the police force, is discipline. And when people breach the code of conduct, there must be consequences, therefore. And there must be a transparent system in place to do that. Also looking at how do we have a system in place where people can report the grievances in a transparent manner, and there can be actually results in a quick manner. How quickly does it take a police officer to respond to a report that is made to the police? I know the fire, within 5 minutes, it is established that they have to leave and respond to a report. And those things are what actually define the efficiency of a police force. And the whole issue of ensuring that the refresher courses, the whole issue was a number of police officers, because of the strain brought on them by law enforcement, may have mental issues, may have financial issues. How do we come up with a system and have a system that places emphasis on our personnel and development, etc. And so there are a number of things that we are looking at to make better police officers and a more professional police force. For example, you have the police force, people retire. I know in Canada, 1 year before retirement, they start giving you counseling. A number of people are not ready to retire, especially police officers. And fellas like, I don't know, fellas like being in the police force. Because of so you have to have a system in place to prepare those people. Somebody has resigned. Do you have exit interviews? Does that person have any outstanding cases that have been investigated? So it has to be almost by precision dealing with those matters as we try to build from a policy standpoint, put systems in place to allow for the betterment of the police force. And that can only lead to the benefit of the public. I wish you well, and I want to also take this time to recognize Mr. Itoma James. We have been spot on so far, and keep on doing what you're doing. And it's because the government has invested so much in the area of med services. We have everything that we need to do our forecasting. And I think so far, Mr. Itoma has brought some sense of seriousness to the job. You go on TikTok, you see what the report. You go on, what's the next one again? Facebook, eh? WhatsApp is little film. Even first time when I go there, so all you say all about the police, and that is important because some people do not listen to the radio. And I want to commend you for that. My last thing I want to say about it, so far as it relates to the fact that we're in the hurricane season, that I'm calling on the public to take the weather reports very seriously. Last week, we had the development of this hurricane is still causing havoc in some other countries. I mean, the public and the social media platforms, I mean, you had the information all over the place. And alerts were given and warning were given about the possibility of challenges on sea swells, etc., along our west coastal plain. And people still left the boats out. And I'm asking us to be responsible. So, and to have your own hurricane disaster plan, to ensure that your doors and your windows are fastened, to clean your drains, the overhang, look out for the vulnerable people in your mix. And if you can do those things and take the hurricane season seriously at all times, and we're just a couple of days, so many years ago, we experienced Erika. Next month, we should be reflecting on Hurricane Maria. Because we have done so well as a country, we tend to forget the past. But we must use the past to correct our wrongs and to better prepare ourselves for the possible eventuality of being hit by a storm. The more prepared we are, is the lesser the impact. Thank you very much.
I will now call on Sergeant David Andrew to give us a little brief about the community policing program.
Good morning. Honorable Minister of National Security, Mr. Rayburn Blackmore, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Security and Legal Affairs, Ms. Joanne Commodore, Acting Chief of Police, Mr. Lincoln Cobbett, Deputy Chief of Police, Mr. Jeffrey James, Assistant Chiefs of Police, other gazetting officers, of theft of agricultural produce has caused substantial losses to farmers. The police have met with the farmers, heard their concerns, and we have collectively developed strategies to combat this particular crime. Additionally, we have met and engaged the youth in Wesley, listening to them, understanding their concerns, We have also involved the Youth Development Officer to be part of the Community Policing Committee, thus being able to provide the necessary needs of the youth in terms of skill training and to ensure our youth are productive, positively engaged, and ultimately gainfully employed. Community walkthroughs and meet and greet initiatives. Several community walkthroughs have been conducted across the island. Communities visited include Grand Bay, Silver Lake, Bath Estate, Tarish Pit, Wesley, and Newtown. These engagements focus on dialogue and interaction with members of the public and addressing community safety concerns. The community walkthroughs will continue and more areas will be visited in the coming weeks. Thus far, the response of the public has been very positive. Neighborhood watches is another critical initiative of the community policing. Neighborhood watches have been formed in the communities of Santa Roma, Goodwill, Castle Comfort, Wallows, Jimmet, and Mount Daniel areas. This has enhanced the safety and security in these areas. Community members actively participate in collaboration with the police to identify suspicious persons and criminal activities such as theft and burglary, which has led to the arrest and also successful prosecution of criminals operating in these areas. The community policing unit has also engaged the youth. During the last school year, the majority of schools across the islands have been visited by the police. Several lectures and student interventions were conducted. The intention is to further improve safety at our schools by enhancing our presence at each school by assigning a school resource officer to every primary and secondary school. The role of the school resource officer is to visit their respective schools on a regular basis, engage with the principals, parents, teachers, counselors, and provide support and give advice and deal with any security concerns at the schools. Additionally, a youth mentorship program will commence shortly, targeting youths in various communities who are in need of guidance and support. The mentors will comprise a wide range of professionals, including doctors, lawyers, police officers, firemen, prison officers, and other fields of discipline. As we seek to empower our youth in the right direction of becoming outstanding, law-abiding individuals in our society, hence reducing juvenile delinquency. One of the other initiatives by the community policing team is one of derelict vehicle removal. One of the major concerns impacting various communities across the island is one of derelict vehicles. The obstruction of the free flow of traffic, congestion it creates, and the environmental and health challenges these vehicles pose to our communities. The Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force has teamed up with the Solid Waste Management Corporation to rid the streets of these vehicles. To date, over 150 of these vehicles have been removed from various locations across the island and disposed of at the Fonkole landfill. Approximately over 300 derelict vehicles have been tagged for removal across Dominica. Consequently, this has significantly reduced congestion eliminate traffic hazards, and improve the cleanliness and safety of our communities, much to the delight of the public. Consequently, the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force is encouraging every member of the public to partner with us in our community policing and initiatives to ensure that we maintain a safe and more secure communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sergeant, for your comprehensive report. I will now call on Assistant Superintendent of Police, Valda Powell, to give us a report on the Immigration Department.
Let me recognize the Honorable Rayburn Blackmore, Minister of National Security and Legal Affairs, Ms. Joanne Commodore, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Security and Legal Affairs, Mr. Lincoln Corbett, Chief of Police Acting, Mr. Geoffrey James, Deputy Commissioner of Police Acting, Mr. Aline Maxime, Assistant Commissioner of Police Acting, Sergeant David Andrew, Community Policing Coordinator, Mr. Itoma James, Senior Met Officer, gazetted officers, and other ranks of the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force, members of the media, listening public, good morning. Afternoon. Thank you, Mr. John Baptiste. My role here this morning is to give you some insight as to the operation within the Immigration Department. The Immigration and Passport Department is responsible for regulating the movement of passengers across the borders. We also deal with the processing of applications for issuance of passports, other services to include approving from visitors for extension of stay and issuance of emergency travel documents. On the 26th of July, 2021, a ceremony was held to launch the electronic passport. This was done as a replacement for the machine-readable passport. The e-passport is equipped with modern technology that offers stronger protection, faster verification, and contains an embedded chip that stores biometric data. The e-passport has enhanced the convenience and security for travelers and hastened the immigration clearances by reducing the waiting time for passengers during our peak travel time, like Carnival, the recently held Breakfast Fest, and the Independence celebration. Persons applying for passport can do so in various ways. You can come to the office and collect your passport forms, and you will receive instructions from our efficient staff. Persons can also apply through their consulate. For example, for those persons living in the US, the closest embassy is in New York. And for those in England and France, the closest embassy is in London. We have our representative servicing Guadeloupe and St. Martin. He's based in Guadeloupe, but he makes trips across to St. Martin. There's also the representative in Martinique, facilitating our citizens in those countries. And further information as to how to reach them can be obtained by calling our office. We would like to urge our citizens to apply for their passport within a timely manner. Do not wait when you're ready to travel to apply for your passport. this puts a strain on the department. And it also causes those who are already waiting in line to be kept behind. So we want to encourage you, come in, have a chat with us, call the office, and apply for your passport. Do not wait when you're ready for travel. I would also like to highlight our upgraded border management system, which began its operation on the 1st of December 2024. This system has enhanced features and now has the capability to capture fingerprints of travelers. I say hats off to the Minister of National Security and the PS, who always ensure that we are provided with what we need. In recent time, the department has seen an increase in the number. The department has increased the number of workstations at Douglas Charles and the Roseau Ferry Terminal. In fact, we have as many as 7 stations operating sometimes. So during the peak season, at the recently Breakfast Help Festival, we saw the quick processing of passengers, efficient and quick processing of passengers. I was present and I can attest to that. Hats off to our efficient staff. As we aspire to maintain current and accurate records of passports, passengers, visitors, permits, and documents, and all other relevant information, we will continue to train staff to help to overcome challenges, build confidence, improve performance, thereby enhancing productivity. Through the Ministry of National Security and Legal Affairs, and under the command of the Chief of Police, the Passport and Immigration Department will carry out its directive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, we thank you so much for that. I will now call on the Chief of Police, Mr. Lincoln Corbett, to give us some remarks.
The Honorable Rayburn Blackmore, Minister for Legal Affairs and National Security, Ms. Joanne Commodore, PS, in the Ministry of National Security and Legal Affairs, Mr. Geoffrey James, Deputy Chief of Police Acting, Mr. Alain Maxime, ACP, Crime and Operation, Mr. Antonio Moses, ACP, Admin and Training, Ms. Valda Powell, ASP Valda Powell, Head of Immigration, Mr. David Andrew, the Community Policing Coordinator, Mr. Itama James, Senior Met Officer, other gazetted officers, and other rank and file of the police force, members of the media, the listening public, good afternoon. It is always a pleasure to update you on matters of national interest, in that case on matters of police. I must thank Sergeant Andrew and ASP Powell for the presentation this morning. Sergeant Andrew, the coordinator, the community policing coordinator, has been doing a tremendous job, and he went in depth to explain to you what the police have been doing in that regard. I just want to reiterate that we have established community policing committees in the Bath State area, Yampis, Granby, Wesley, and incidentally Wesley, we should have, in keeping with the plan, a big meeting with the members of the community coming up very soon. That is a bigger meeting. We've had meetings with the committee, but the intention is to have a meeting with all the villagers so we can hear from them what the concerns are. The neighborhood watch continues in the Central Roma, Mount Daniel, Goodwill areas, and Jimit. And again, the idea, as Mr. Andrew mentioned, is to establish a closer bond between the public and the community to address the concerns that they have, primarily as it relates to crime and other maintenance issues. On the issue of the Immigration Department, Mr. Powell would have again went in depth as what we do at the Immigration Department. And just to add that we're always ready to assist and to ensure that visitors, passengers to Dominica are processed very quickly. So you would have seen, as she mentioned, during the breakfast fete and other activities, that we increase our stations, that is among our officers dealing with members of the public, to ensure that within a short time, half an hour, 45 minutes, you're in and out, and about your business in Dominica, spending and ensuring that people make some money. So I must express thanks to ASP Powell and her staff, and for the task force that we have. So what we have is a task force when we have those major events. Hence, we're able to do this very quickly. The minister would have mentioned on the question of the closure of the Kulibishi police station. We know it's a sentimental thing for people, and it's not really an easy task, an easy one to not sell, but for them to understand. But however, we have the opinion that the pooling of the resources between the Kulibishi police station, which in effect has one man, and that of the Solid police station, will be able to, by so doing, we'll be able to better provide service to the members of the public. I say one man because there are two men stationed at the station, two men. However, because of the need for men to go on off and a break, in effect, most of the time you have only one man at the station. But with the collaboration, or the collapsing of the two divisions, two areas, we'll have in effect 6 officers available to serve members of the public. So between Salisbury and Kulibishi, 6 officers. And the intention, therefore, is to increase the staff complement and to upgrade it to 6, as I said. That 1 sergeant, 2 corporals, and 3 constables. And although the minister did not mention it, the intention, and we've been promised, a significant upgrade in the amount of vehicles to the police. I suspect he may want to mention it on his end. But Salisbury will have a dedicated vehicle to service the area of Salisbury, Kulibishi, Mount Marchet. Dedicated vehicle. So you will see, going forward, the presence of the officers more in those communities. Again, Salisbury, Kulibishi, is a very quiet community. As I told them when we met them on the 19th of August, the station diary reflects a lot of times just a change of date and reporting of the station to the headquarters. Almost zero reports. And that's a very good thing. That's a very good thing. So just to close up on this, the committee won't see a reduction in the service that's been given to them, albeit the station, the men may not be stationed in that building. And I also suggested to the meeting and the parade that the building could be repurposed, because there are some concerns about in case of emergencies, it can be easily turned into a shelter. It's a very strong building. It will stand quite a bit of storms. So the committee won't see, as I said, they won't see a reduction in service. As a matter of fact, we have the opinion that they will see an increased service to the members of the public. So we'll continue to work the residents to ensure that the issue of crime remains at a very low rate, and that all other concerns that they have will respond to them in a very timely manner. Under the umbrella of community policing, we intend to launch some new initiatives that the police are new. You will hear more about this in detail as we go forward. But the idea again is to have a closer relationship with the members of the public. Years ago, we had this program on DBS, on the beat. We may want to change the name to Police Anew and then have a relaunch, as it were. Again, is to ensure that we keep members of the public always aware, informed as to what the police is doing. But again, we'll give more details very, very, very soon on that. But the idea is to keep the police always in the eyes of the public and informing us what we're doing. We're doing a lot, but sometimes we don't talk enough. So we may not be aware what we're doing. So on the issue of uniform police presence, the minister have reiterated many, many times, and if we were children, by now our ears would have been rubbed off, because it's something that's germane to him at the core of every discussion that we have: police presence in the community. And again, for those of us who are trained and we know the history of policing, patrolling is the bedrock, the backbone of policing. Patrolling is the bedrock and the and the backbone of policing. By patrolling, you're able to meet the members of the community, hear the concerns, and even address on spot what some of the concerns are. So you will see the relaunch, as it were, of the presence of the police throughout the communities all over the island. And you've seen a little of that. You've seen a bit touching base. But the idea is that each police station will be sending out officers on a daily basis to patrol in uniform. Not just drive around and say we patrol. Hit the ground running, walk the ground, meet the shopkeepers, go to the schools, meet the youth on the block, find out what the concerns are, meet the farmers, and address, as I said, the concerns that they have. Again, that will help to reduce the issue of crime, and importantly, the fear of crime. The fear of crime. So the issue of uniform, again, to this end, on the 24th of May, we would have established the beat unit in Roseau, and we've been getting a lot of good reviews out of this dedicated unit to patrol the city. Again, your city cannot run a police. So the officers have been deployed 24/7, that is 24 hours a day, that they're out there patrolling. And it's not about just giving tickets, but ensuring that the officers are there, again, in the case the public needs concerns to be addressed, that they'll be there on the spot. And we've seen, as I said, results. And we've also seen significantly a reduction of crime in the city. Burglaries in the city of Roseau, I say knock on wood, is almost non-existent. One, maybe every 2 weeks, we see a report of burglary. Again, I strongly believe it's because of the presence of the police in the city and the work of the police on the ground. Because they're out there, albeit they are young officers, call them recruits, but they have been very effective, and we're seeing the statistics trending in a very positive direction. In addition to the beat unit, you would have also seen an increased presence of police in the city. The traffic department have been mandated to go out there and ensure that they implement and enforce the traffic laws. And without saying anything much, there's much more to be done. The issue of these additional lights on those motor vehicles at night is a hazard. So I'm warning those who have them to take them off, because we'll be doing what we have to do in terms of patrols, VCP, vehicle checkpoint, to ensure that this nonsense will stop. You're not going in the jungles. What are you doing with that amount of lights? So again, you'll see the traffic out there. You'll also see additional units from the SSU, the Task Force Drug Squad, again, all in an effort to reduce crime. So you'll see them go out there and doing what they have to do. What we ask is that you cooperate with the police and support them as they go about the place, doing their work. It's not about being, we're not targeting anybody, but at the end of the day, the police has the work to do. So during the first half of this year, we would have seen an increase in the callous use of the firearms. Not an increase in crime, but the way in which criminals use the firearm to commit crimes in Dominica. And to tackle that issue, you would have heard the Prime Minister and also the Honourable Minister mention 3 important measures that would have been implemented. One, first, that of gun amnesty. The other one has to do with the establishment of the Firearms Task Force, and also a rewards program for people giving information that would lead to the recovery of firearms or ammunition. Under the gun amnesty, we can say up to today, up to this morning, 5 firearms have been surrendered to the police. 5 firearms and a number of ammunition. Those firearms came from the Roseau catchment area, the Bears, and the Portsmouth area. Again, we must commend the citizens who took it upon their own to surrender those firearms. You might say 5 is small, but 5 firearms that won't find themselves back on the streets or be out there to harm our citizens. So we thank those who have surrendered, and although the amnesty is over, we're still urging members of the public and those who have firearms to surrender them to the police. Surrender them to the police. Or, if you have information where a firearm could be, call the police or the hotline. I will give details on that later. Reference to the Firearms Task Force, again in keeping with Section 6 of the Police Regulations, under Chapter 1401, the Honourable Minister of National Security, power vested in him, have approved the establishment of the Firearms Task Force. The aim of that task force is to identify, apprehend, and prosecute individuals involved in the possession, trafficking, or the use of illegal firearms. They'll be dedicated, as I said, to going after illegal firearms. The officers have been trained in that regard to analyze and to investigate all firearms and ammunition-related matters. And the Minister again mentioned, not long, we have some training from some of our partners. I won't go into details, but we are now equipped with the ability to investigate firearm matters in depth. So I'll leave it at that. We can do further, much more. Much more. And what I will say, you will see in the coming days, weeks, the result of this training. In terms of the rewards program, and that was announced, that is $1,000 for anyone with information that would lead to the seizure or retrieval of any illegal firearm. That is in place, and to date, 1 person have given information on where a firearm could be found, and that matter was dealt with before the court. I don't have the exact fine that was imposed. I can say so far, 1 person have assisted in that regard, and the person was dealt with at the court. Again, we encourage members of the public to call the police or call 1-800-TIPS if you have any information regarding the use or where firearms could be. That is 1-800-8477, Crime Stoppers Hotline. Please call that number and give information. Just to wrap up, but before I go, this year again, we will be celebrating Police Week. So in the month of September, the proposed date is September 21st to 28th, under the theme, Serving with Pride, Protecting with Purpose. Again, we'll give more details as the time gets closer, but we intend to celebrate Police Week again in a big way this year. Again, to showcase the police and to reward officers for the hard work that they've done over the years. So I invite you, and you're welcome to celebrate with us and to participate in our activities. Again, I said more information will be given as we go along. But we encourage you to partner with us and to be a friend of the police. And in conclusion, just to say that we look forward to your continued partnership in this fight against crime, and more so on the issue of fighting gun crime in Dominica. Thank you. And thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Chief. I will now call on Mr. I. Toma James, the Senior Met Officer, to give us a little bit of an update as to what has been happening so far for the hurricane season.
Good, good afternoon, everybody. Let me start off by recognizing the presence of the Honorable Minister, Mr. Blackmore, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Security and Legal Affairs, Ms. Commodore, the Deputy Chief of Police, Mr. James, and the Chief of Police, Mr. Corbett, and all the other ranking file police officers, and the media, the general public. Thanks for this opportunity to present to you an update on the hurricane season. But before I begin, I just wanted to say my commendations to the police force for their initiatives in trying to keep our public safe. I do hope that the public really works together with them in making these initiatives successful, because we do need these types of initiatives to help us, keep safe and protected. So again, hats off to you. So to get to it, the hurricane season thus far has been a bit quiet. It's been a slow start, but we have had 5 named storms so far. And in these 5 named storms, we have had 1 major hurricane. And as recent as last week, we have had Erin. And Erin is proof that these systems can upgrade from minuscule to catastrophic in the split of no time. So with that in mind, I would just like to remind the public that we have entered the peak of the season, which means that the activities in the Atlantic is going to ramp up. We are expecting to see more storms, more tropical waves that can develop into storms. So we expect the public to not drop their guard, because the season has been off to a bit of a slow start. Now is the time to actually ramp up your preparations, make sure that all your plans are in place, because the forecast is still predicting for an above normal season. So we expect the public to continue to prepare and plan for everything that we know can happen during the hurricane season and not drop our guards. All of the signs, all of the indications, the key indicators have remained the same, while there may be a slight drop-off if you look at the different research. I know there are a lot of people who go and check their own information, and I applaud that. So you may see that there is a slight reduction in the probability of the season being above normal, but the season is still predicted to be above normal. We expect there to be a 50% chance instead of a 60%, but that in no way indicates that we should drop our guard or take this information for granted and think that is something that, we should relax and it's going to be better. It only takes 1 storm, 1 tropical storm, 1 tropical wave, 1 depression, 1 major hurricane to set us back some distance again. So we just need the public to be informed and understand that the season is now in its peak, and we expect there to be systems coming through, and we expect you to keep up to date with the Hurricane Center and the information coming out of the Met Office. Additionally, I have a bit of a concern sometimes, and a question that is normally asked of us at the Met Office is, how do we compete with the other agencies, the other people who put information out there? And one of the things that I like to say to everybody who asks me these questions is, I am very happy that people are staying informed, that they have sources of information, but please remember that the Met Office is the main authority in the country as it relates to providing alerts for different storms and what you need to do. So even if you have your information and you have your sources of information, it would make sense to double check with the Met Office, ensure that you understand what the information is saying, what the Met Office is advising people to do, as we have a bit more of a knowledge and understanding of how things happen in Dominica and the protocols and what you should be doing. So we just ask you to keep up to date with the information. Right now, if radio is your favorite, then make sure that you listen every day to find out what is going on. If you are a social media person, you can check out the Met Office website on social media pages at Facebook, Instagram, or our website and our WhatsApp channel. We provide information on everything weather concerning to Dominica. Again, just keep up to date with the information. Currently, we are not facing any major threats. Our weekend should be okay. Going into next week, there is a tropical wave that is coming through that could bring a bit of rain. Again, we just have to keep monitoring. These systems can change for the best very rapidly and also for the worst. So just keep up to date as to what happens, what is going on. And if you have any questions, call the Met Office. We are always free to answer, provide information to you if you need any updated information. Our fisher folks, again, you have different circumstances sometimes, and it would make sense again to keep up to date with the information because you do not want to lose your livelihood just because you are not informed of what is going on. So farmers, fisher folks, the general public, just stay up to date with your information and try to make sure that you protect yourself and your livelihoods. All right, thank you. Oh. Again, so we are on WhatsApp. We have a WhatsApp channel that is Dominica Meteorological Service on WhatsApp. On Facebook, we are the Dominica Met on Facebook and Instagram. And you can also visit us on our website at weather.gov.dm. And again, you can call the Met Office also at, forget the number, but no, it's 44, what is the government thing again? But yes, you can call us on the different numbers. I think they are all on our website also. So you can get the Met Office at various numbers. I think we have too many to number. So, all right.
So before I call on the Honorable Minister again to give us some closing remarks, I want to piggyback on some of what Mr. James said in terms of keeping the public informed. One of the wonderful things that the government of Dominica has done is making a lot of our services available online. Eventually, the idea is to do a whole of government approach and make almost every service available. At present, there are 12 pages of services available to the public all across government that you can apply. And I'm saying that because we have recently added the visa applications online. Not just the form, but the entire process can now be done online. From downloading the forms to uploading what you need to upload and to submitting it to the office. Yes, well, payment. I'll come to payment. So you can access this by the eservices.gov.dm. And as I indicated, there are 12 pages of services from the entry visas to first-time student visas, student visa renewals, and all of those services. But there's also birth certificates, which is also within the Ministry of National Security, marriage certificates, death certificates. And there are other services that you can find, like the passport application forms, are also on the e-services domain right now. And it is also on the government's main website, which is dominica.gov.dm. So for the e-services, to access any e-service, you simply go to eservices.gov.dm, and when it's time to make payment, it's going to link you to the epayment.dominica.gov.dm webpage. So take a time when you get a chance, go on there. There are 12 pages of services available to the Dominican public. This is the exciting direction in which the government of Dominica is moving, and I really want the public to know that so that they can take advantage of it, especially if you want to assist your overseas friends in making their entry visa applications. I will now call on the Honorable Raymond Blackmore to give us some closing remarks.
Yes, okay. Thank you, PS, again, and all those of you who presented. Let's put on together for them again. I believe the police force is going in the right direction. We have so much talent within the police force. You heard from Sergeant Andrew Jr. His father was also a police officer. We worked together, a man of high repute and discipline. And Mr. Andrew holds a master's, and it was revealed in his presentation. And that's the caliber of talent we have in the police force, and so many people in the police force. We also have Ms. Edwards at the front, who also have a master's. We have so many people, pursued, studies at various levels, GAG, Moses, a number of people have done some qualification program, and for this thing, the commissioner himself is a university graduate. So the fact is, we are moving forward. But I wanted to make, just as I close up, the chief of police made reference to vehicles. I did not mention that. And I have, every time I go to the Prime Minister to make a request on behalf of the police, he's very, very quick in approving. So we are waiting to new vehicles, like we say, brand new, 10 new brand new vehicles. The police love Toyotas because they say it's more robust. But I'm asking, whereas I also always support the police, but I'm also accountable to the public. And when monies are used from the public purse, the monies have to be accounted for. So what I'm waiting for, Chief, is a submission of, a protocol that speaks to the proper management and maintenance of those vehicles. And this attitude sometimes, that is not my thing, I can do what I want with it, and it's okay, has to stop. So it's not only providing the police with new vehicles, but we have to have a manual as to how to maintain those vehicles and to hold people accountable. You have assigned drivers. If you're not an assigned driver and you take government vehicle and they match it up, you ought to be held responsible and accountable for damaging government vehicle. So the vehicles are coming, deal with it. We still have more coming, but we have to have a new approach. I've mandated the permanent secretary, and on a monthly basis, to be at Mount Bruce, we're doing some work on the garage, it's looking well, nice, sorry, to ensure that the vehicles are inspected and to ensure that the logs are updated. There must be a sense of responsibility and accountability going forward on the manner in which we use state resources. The police force is a disciplined organization, and that discipline must be manifested at all times. I'll continue to advocate on the behalf from a policy standpoint, but help me and help out the people who don't vehicle. I can recall you asked for vehicle from Marigot. When I saw the thing on social media then, and but I understood the vehicle has been repaired, up and running, sir? Marigot? Yes, so I saw something, somebody who said that they're happy with the improvement being made, but that person is concerned about only 6 police officers between Salisbury and Roseau. The chief never said that. All right? The chief never said that we only have 6 police officers between Salisbury and Roseau. He did not say that. And also to okay, so you can go back to what he has said, and he did not say that. They have a police station in St. Joseph, they have one in Maho, etc. And I want to give the public the assurance, you also have, even if we don't have a defense force, but we have a special service unit in the police force. And, and to deal with issues of national security. And we're working towards augmenting that number as we move into a new training phase. As we speak, we're preparing, the police force is preparing for selecting additional candidates to begin initial training. And so it's going to be an ongoing exercise to ensure that we have the manpower. I also heard Ms. Powell made reference to the improvement to our border security management system. And that cost the state $16 million. $16 million. was invested and to improve our border security management system. And so you see now, I want to again really comment Paul Wheeler and the staff that during Korea Festival, I spoke to a number of people from St. Lucia, friends, and they said they were very much impressed with the quick time in which they were able to have been processed in a small place at the ferry terminal. And I want to commend you for that. You see, sometimes people give currency to the things that maybe you have a bad day, but things that are constant, they do not talk about these things. Things happen well in a constant fashion, they talk about it. So I wanted to commend you, Paul, for that. And so the system is working. And the 7 bases that we have, we also have mobile. We have mobile border security systems that we can use. And if you have any hiccups at the bayfront, we can move it. If you have any hiccups at Melville, we can move the additional mobile. So all these things that we have put together because we are futuristic in our planning as a government to ensure we provide the kind of coverage and services that the people of Dominica need. I want to make one other point as I made reference to the visa application and other applications. Because the ministry leads the way. We account the Ministry of National Security accounts for over 90% of the online services the government offers. I'm happy that we have been able to further update some ability to access the services by way of applying for visa applications, visas. But let me just say something. The requirements still have to be met. We have staff who have been trained for the back end, work to be done. And I want to commend the Ministry for Agriculture and the Minister. We have a farm workers program. And it's not specific to one nationality. Understand? Because you can if you are born from farm, you can bring in from labor from another country. And I want to commend the ministry and the minister for being steadfast, because there are already people who are trying to take advantage of the system. There will be no tolerance, make it fundamentally clear. No tolerance of people who are trying to beat the system and to get involved in any fraudulent practices. If you say you're a farmer, and thus far, I think that the Minister of Agriculture has been doing tremendous work, and the system is working in that regard. So thank you very much, PS, and I'm looking forward to having the next similar press conference to talk about other issues that the ministry is.
Okay, good morning. On the question Mr. Matthew asked, whether it's going to be island-wide, the question is, we have local authorities in Dominica, and from time to time, they ask the police to assist them in certain areas. So all the actions that the city police taking from time to time is in support of that authority. Okay, so I'll leave my answer at just that, okay? But okay, I'll leave it at that. But you have not seen all the videos, Mr. Matthew. We've taken actions right for the island from time to time. And we're not targeting, as I said before, we're not targeting any particular group or people or person. And a lot of times when we want to do action, we act by supporting the local authorities. That's how we're acting by supporting the Solid Waste Management Corporation with the direct vehicles. We're acting, every time we act, we assist local authorities, the town council or the city council or village council. We do that from time to time.
Also parents?
I don't know where you're going to question, Caroline. I don't know where you're going to question. I don't know where you're going to question. I don't know. I can't answer that question. I don't know where you're going to. And let's maintain the decorum and the order that the meeting is, or the press conference was started.
Mr. Corbett, it's lawful. From your standpoint, it's lawful what you're doing.
I have answered the question fully, Mr. Matthew. I can't add nothing else to the question.
Can you update us on the sea patrol or marine patrol?
On the one?
Can you
update us on your sea patrol, your marine patrol, and any challenges?
Okay, we're not telling you too much about our operations, and for obvious reasons. But we have vessels that are equipped to patrol, and we patrol regularly. And apart from the patrols, we do what we call a SAR, search and rescue operation. And if you follow regularly on social media, otherwise, we from time to time go out to assist fishers who would have encountered some difficulty at sea. So yes, we have vessels, enough vessels to patrol, and those that are done quickly repaired, and they've been repaired in-house, if I may add. Our own mechanics, our own engineers. And our downtime therefore is very short, sometimes half a day. But yes, we have vessels capable of patrolling all our waters. I hope I answered the question that you have.
Let me just ask a final question. It has to do with road fatalities. Police Chief, can you tell us how many we've had in terms of road fatalities for the year compared to last year? And what would be your overall message to motorists? Thank you.
But the first question, I cannot really give you all the data. I mean, how many? We have 5 for the year, but it's as compared to other years. So I compared to last year. How many had last year? I don't know. I'm not sure. That's a question we can always give you an answer for later on. But so far, we've had, I've been told, five road fatalities, and mark it, not accidents, road fatalities. Road fatalities. So we no longer say accident, we say collision fatalities. Now, in terms of the message to motorists, we've been admonishing them over the years to drive safely, drive cautiously, wear your seatbelts. And again, as part of the action of the police, you will see us going out, encouraging people to wear their seatbelts and their helmets and that sort of thing. So our message generally is that your life is your life. Your life is the most important thing. And as such, you must preserve it. But you must drive, as I said, carefully and in a manner that won't cause you to any peril or that of the public. Thank you.
Sorry, I want to support the chief in that because I got a long message on the whole issue of speed bumps. But I believe the issue about the need to drive with due care and attention is also very important. It doesn't matter what mitigating factors you have on the street. You have cautionary lights. If you're not driving with due care and attention, the possibility of having accidents is real. Now we are looking at I've spoken to the chief of police. We have to take into consideration sometimes that with the installation of speed bumps can not only have an impact on traffic flow, but it can impact on somebody's life. If somebody's being rushed to the hospital, 1 second makes a difference. You understand? So there are pros and cons and important street lights. Yes, on the whole issue of cautionary lights, we're working on that. On the issue of seat belts, I have a fundamental concern as a citizen and a minister. There's nothing that prevents the police from actually enforcing the seat belt laws. There's no, the laws as it pertains to seat belt is not ambiguous. We have asked for, we're looking at the actually regulation that speaks to the wearing of helmets. As we speak, we have a draft from Mr. Anthony Laron to properly define what, because the law speaks to headgear. So a man cannot take a mushwe and tie his head and go to court and yard defense because I have my headgear. What is headgear as per the law? So that has to be spelled out. And who is required on a bike to wear the headgear? So all that has been actually, so I have before me a draft, because I believe we have to start enforcing that fundamentally. We also have an issue with drunk driving. Now, I'm not sure why passengers will sit on a bus and the driver has a beer drinking. But there's enough, we have been in contact some years ago, before Maria struck. We had almost gotten there to get the machine that is required. and the requisite training for the officers for the breathalyzer test. But as we speak, the police has the authority, you understand, to bring in anybody suspected of wrong driving to a police station or to the hospital, and to have samples of his urine, etc. It can be done. So I'm saying that there is nothing that prevents the police from doing that. So I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but it's the point where that we have to start enforcing the laws. We can enforce, you get my point, to make example out of people, because, not because I do not drink any form of alcohol, but I believe it's very dangerous, especially if you're driving a public vehicle, to be drinking while you're driving, or drunk while you're driving. And drunkenness is not an excuse. If you're drunk and you happen to get into an accident and somebody dies, it's not a defense. And the notion that if you're driving recklessly in a village that is densely populated, recklessness can be a form of intention. If you are driving recklessly into a built-up community, you should know that the eventuality of hitting somebody in a community is real. So if you proceed and bounce that person recklessly, strictly speaking, you should be charged for manslaughter. Strictly speaking, man-son of the law. But let us get this thing straight. So yes, this big hoopla about street lights, etc. If you, as an individual, do not exercise that caution you need to exercise as a driver, you're going to have those things. All right? So yes, we have a draft legislation for the headgear, but the onus is on the driver. And the number of times, I'm tired of time to the chief, when I go in for my lunch sometimes, I pass in for the gardens. If you're driving coming from Road Street into the bridge, there's a stop sign there. If you're driving on the Bath Road, right of way, the people who are traversing southbound, there's a stop sign, they don't stop. So you know with right of way have to be stopping for the people who are supposed to be stopping on the stop sign. So I believe enforcement is key. If a number of people get tickets, you understand, while they're doing that, I'm almost certain that you're going to see, a reduction in the number of vehicles not stopping. One more last thing, the ticket system has to change. It's a waste of police time. You have gotten a ticket, having to go and sit down in court, etc. You have to change that. You get a ticket, you have to pay for it. It can be sent to you in the mail, and we have done all the assessment, chief, as to where the cameras should be installed. We had the funding for that. We procured some cameras, Moses, but the cameras were supposed to be for houses. Listen, we cannot, not us, we cannot job us up. So I have written and asked for the chief. The person has to be held accountable. The person is a storyteller, accountable, you understand, for government money. That having been said, we have contacted a new provider, and we'll be moving forward to install the cameras in the key areas, including in Kenfield, including outside of Roseau. I'm not going to mention where. And then we'll change the law as far as tickets is concerned. You get a ticket in the mail and you have to pay for it. You don't pay for it, when the police hold you, it's to bring it to the cells. You understand what I'm talking about? Yeah, so I mean, those are some of the stuff that we'll be doing. We have started the installation. The police, the government has provided the money to install cameras in key police stations. So the police chief can monitor the movement of officers. If you say you're patrolling, the police chief will know. If you're supposed to be dressed in uniform on the guard desk, the police chief will know. Do you understand what I'm saying? Unless we can do these things, have cameras, and we're thinking too, the time has come for us, for the police in uniform to have cameras attached to the uniform also. All these things that we're moving forward so there can be transparency and monitor how the law enforcement officials actually discharge the duty. And the cameras work for both the police and the accused or the suspect. Thank you very much.
I will call on the Deputy Chief of Police to just... Before we go to the vote of thanks, take it away, Chief. We'd like to display some of the firearms that were turned in during the amnesty. Oh, ammunition too? Okay, and ammunition. So I would ask the press to turn their attention to the table in the corner so that the public can see some of the firearms that have been turned in during the gun amnesty. Okay. All right, thank you. And this is why we say every firearm off the street is a victory. Anyone? Okay, I will now call on the Deputy Chief of Police to give the vote of thanks and to close us off.
Good afternoon, everybody. I have been given the task of giving the vote of thanks for a very informative press conference. I wasn't surprised that Curtis, the likes of Curtis and Carlisle, were very limited in their question because they were informed, very well informed. So with that said, I want to say heartfelt thanks to the Honorable Minister of National Security, Mr. Rayburn Blackmore, the PS, Ms. Commodore, ACP Maxime, before that the Chief of Police, Mr. Corbett, Superintendent Theophile, ACP Moses, Sergeant Andrew for Community Policing Coordinator, Ms. Powell, Immigration is on top of the action and well done, efficient. We must recommend Ms. Powell. Other rank and file of the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force, very informative press conference. Thank you, sir, Minister, Honorable Minister, for your press conference. Calling the press conference was very transparent. It's a show of transparency within your ministry. The public is fully informed, and I talk ally. Thank you very much.
Our technician, acting chief technician Mosiah Olive. We want to thank you for listening, folks. We apologize for the glitch earlier on. We wish you the best for the rest of today. Our next broadcast will be at J. Asafans and Company Limited as we partner with Flo Dominica to make it possible from 3 p.m. Next time, don't forget Kyrie GIS.
Yes. Right. That slipped by my mind. There was a delivery.